I was born in Vienna, Austria on November 10th, 1995. Shortly afterwards, I moved with my parents to my home country, Bulgaria. A couple of years later, we moved to Latvia, then back to Vienna, then to Lithuania, and starting my first year of elementary school, we went back to Vienna till the end of my junior year of high school. Then our journey took us to Chicago. I was already interested in art since I was very small, but along the way I was also getting interested in medicine and business, so when it was time to think about colleges, the first thing that I wanted to do was to go to London and study photography, but the chances of going there at the time seemed kind of low. Before I could think about anything further, my father received an opportunity for a promotion in Chicago. He asked me if he should take it, and I said yes. Now, 3 years later, I'm studying at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, making a movie about artists and cultures, and I am wondering how all those travels got me to where I am today, and what would have happened if I didn't leave Austria. This triggered me to find more people that dealt with a similar situation as mine, and to find out more about their stories.
I'm Kaveri Rena. I'm 26 years old. I was born and brought up in New Delhi, India, and I was there since the age of 11, and then at that time my parents and my sister and my grandmother, we moved to Columbus, Ohio. So there was a huge cultural shock at that time, and just adjusting was really hard.
All right, so my name is Lydia Maria Pfeffer. I was born and raised in Austria. I'm 40 years old, just turned 40 in March. So I left Austria when I was 19. I moved to London first, then I went to New York, and I ended up in Chicago at SAIC.
Well, how did you end up deciding to leave your home country?
I grew up in a really tiny rural town called Annaberg, which is really gorgeous and beautiful. It's not even a town, it's a village. I would say with about 600 inhabitants right now. And it was just too small for me. I always wanted to I felt trapped, and everybody knew everything about you, and it was a set way of living, and if you wanted to stay there, you had to join them and, be part of the folk dancing group and, all that stuff, which is great and fine for me to look at it from the outside, but it was just a very restrictive type of living for me. And when I was 19 and after I graduated from high school or this particular type of college that I went to for actually hotel management and restaurant management, I decided I wanted to leave. And
it wasn't up to me. If it was up to me, I would stay there, but I mean at the age of 11 I would go where my parents would go, and they were like, we're moving, and suddenly there was this duality of like back and forth as to if I was considering myself Indian or American or both, and that was also like brought up in my work and just talking to advisors and mentors and people around me. So I started my work started to take that shift to I was working a lot with spices, so I was working with turmeric and red chili powder, fennel seed powder in my work, and kind of dyeing canvases with these materials, which I knew were fugitive, but at the same time just really enjoyed the act of dyeing. And the reason I started using spices was because I know my mom started teaching me how to cook at the age of 11 while I was still in Delhi, and the fact that so it was more like a memory, like remembering like her teaching me how to cook with these specific spices, and I wanted to use those to paint with, and bringing back the memories, and just it was almost like cooking on canvas, and just started painting on burlap. And I quickly realized how permeable it is, that the holes you can paint through, and paint from the back and paint from the front, and how the paint seeps through this material. And so the reason I started using burlap, I guess I never mentioned that, was because when I was in Delhi, I would see like burlap rice sacks everywhere. Like, my dad would go and get rice is such an important staple in our life, and we would consume it a lot, and I would see burlap rice sacks around her. I realized I was also painting from the back and front. whenever I would pick up the painting and turn it around, the surprise of seeing what the painting came out to be was really fun. But then I was also responding to the painting from the top. So that was really nice to do the back and forth, and it felt like it was more so an act of like going between cultures. Like I feel like my content comes from the process, which is going back and forth and painting from the front and the back and responding to.
Which side would you say is the back in terms of like back home India and front that you're responsive to?
So I would say Western would be on the top and Eastern on the bottom, but I think it changes painting to painting. I felt like it was almost like a burden to always have to talk about this East and the West duality, and about I don't really respond to them. I don't see like my paintings as a struggle of East and the West. I think through these so many years, I've and art has kind of like mended those problems.
Yes, so my children, I call these my children. I talk to my paintings. I say good night to them. My friend thinks I'm insane, and but it's my world. What happened was, which I initially didn't realize, that I through the bartending, especially meeting all these peoples and traveling everywhere, I started to internalizing this, and these worlds that you see on the canvas, they're kind of little epics that I call them. They're little stories and epics. It's like when I build a creature, for example, with a mask. Some people there are many different people having many different relationships with masks. As you have tribal masks across the globe. You as a traveler, you know this, from your own culture. There's so many different cultures that use masks. Or the symbol of the snake, could be one of wisdom, then it can be one of destruction. One thing can mean so many different things. So whatever you bring to the canvas with my images, is that what you're gonna get out of it. So, it was a really emotional journey because it broke me in a lot of ways, but it rebuilt me as well, and I loved it. It was so challenging, and I cried. I threw things. It was such an emotional journey, but I came to have this really insane relationship with painting, and it satisfied me on a level that I had never expected it would be, or. I just couldn't stop. I didn't want to stop, and I finally. It's kind of emotional. I feel like I finally found something that I related to, like that made sense.
What do you think would have happened if you would have ended?
That's a question I always ask myself. Is if I was there, as you said before, you're from Bulgaria, and I don't know if I would have pursued arts there. That's something that I think I was even up till end of high school. I was thinking perhaps I would do pre-med. That was in my mind, but I think if I was in Delhi, I don't think I would have gone into arts at all. Maybe economics or pre-med or something else, but I don't think it would have been as pursued there as much as it would have been here.
Yeah, I think I would have ended up in advertising. I did have a little portfolio when I was, I think, 17 or 18, and of illustrations, and I went to all the advertising agencies in Vienna, and I literally sent them all letters. And Saatchi actually said, there are no design options right now, but opportunities right now, but we need a secretary, and you could work your way up. So I could have possibly ended up in Saatchi, and Saatchi had a wonderful career, maybe, have worked my way up. That would have been an option, but I don't know. I would have been a different person. I would have been a different woman, a different human, and I don't regret anything at all. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.